Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by and welcome to the fourth quarter and full year of 2022 Tarena International Incorporated earnings conference call. All participants are in a listen-only mode. There will be a presentation followed by a question and answer session. If you wish to ask a question, you will need to press the star key followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad. I must advise you that today's conference call is being recorded today, March 28th, 2023. I would now like to hand the conference call over to your first speaker today, Ms. Sylvia Yang, the Investor Relationship Manager. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tarena's earnings conference call for the fourth quarter and full year of 2022. The company's earnings results were released earlier today and are available on our IR website, ir.tedu.cn, as well as our newswire services. Today, you will hear from Ms. Nancy Yin-Sun, our CEO, and Ms. Ping Wei, our CFO, who will take you through the company's operational and financial results for the fourth quarter and full year of 2022, and give revenue guidance for the first quarter of 2023. After their prepared remarks, Nancy and Ms. Wei will be available to answer your questions. Before we continue, please note that the discussion today will contain certain forward-looking statements made under the safe harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. These forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results to differ materially from our current expectations. Tarena does not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements, except as required under applicable law. Also, please note that some of the information to be discussed includes non-GAAP financial measures as defined in Regulation G. The U.S. GAAP financial measures and information reconciling these non-GAAP financial measures to Tarena's financial results prepared in accordance with U.S. GAAP are included in Tarena's earnings release, which has been posted on the company's IR website at ir.tedu.cn. Finally, as a reminder, this conference call is being recorded. In addition, a webcast of this conference call is available on Tarena's Investor Relations website. I will now turn the call over to Ms. Nancy Yin-Sun, the CEO of Tarena.
谢谢杨爽，非常感谢各位投资者和分析师今天能够来参加我们的电话会议。
Thank you, Sylvia, and thanks everyone for joining us.
2022年底的前后是一段比较特殊的时期，这段时间疫情的动态变化叠加了中国春节的季节性影响，给我们的经营造成了一定的暂时性的影响。我们的线下中心前后关闭了近2个月的时间，相当一部分教师和学生因疫情或生病的原因暂停上课，部分员工也有一段时间无法正常上班，这使得我们的线下获课和线上线下课程交付以及线下中心服务受到了不同程度的影响。
The month around the end of 2022 was a challenging period for us as COVID-19 dynamics and the Chinese New Year temporarily impacted our daily operations. Our offline centers closed for almost 2 months as a large number of teachers and students had to suspend classes due to pandemic restrictions or illnesses. Meanwhile, some employees were also unable to work for a period of time. To varying degrees, this affected our offline customer acquisition, our online and offline course delivery, and our offline center services.
面对颇具挑战的经营环境，得益于我们及时的运营应变能力、稳定的 OMO 教学交付能力，以及公司内持续贯彻的降本增效的运营策略，我们依然实现了2022年第4季度2400万人民币的正向经营现金流和期权费用前的非准则运营盈利。2022年第4季，集团的整体毛利率 58.4%， 同比提高了 8.4个百分点，其中成人业务基本稳定， 毛利率达到了73.2%，同比提高了8.1个百分点。而青少年素质教育业务继续凸显其市场韧性和模式的可扩展性。本季度报读人数增长了17%，而毛利率也达到了48.6%，同比提高了13个百分点。同时，公司2022年全年实现扭亏为盈，净利润达到8523万元，非美国通用会计准则净利润达到1.02亿元。
In this challenging business environment, we achieved a positive operating cash inflow of 24 million RMB and a non-GAAP operating income, excluding share-based compensation expenses in the fourth quarter. This was due to our operational agility, our stable OMO-based course delivery system, and our consistent improvement of operational efficiency. Our gross profit margin on the group level reached 58.4% in the fourth quarter, up 8.4 percentage points year over year. Specifically, our IT professional education business remained stable, with a gross profit margin of 73.2%, rising by 8.1 percentage points year over year. Our IT-focused supplementary STEAM education business continued to demonstrate market resilience and business model scalability, registering an enrollment growth of 17% and a gross profit margin of 48.6% in the fourth quarter, up 13 percentage points year over year. In addition, despite the challenges from external headwinds throughout 2022, we achieved a turnaround from a net loss to a net profit of 85.23 million RMB and a non-GAAP net profit of 102 million RMB for the year, as a result of the continuous upgrades in our operating model, delivery quality, and service capabilities.
收入方面，受到疫情的影响，我们在2022年第四季度总净收入为 5.52 亿元，较2021年同期的 6.55 亿元同比下降了 15.7%。其中，青少年素质教育收入较去年同期基本持平，而成人职业教育业务受疫情及经济环境影响，收入降低了 31.6%。
Our total net revenues amounted to 552 million RMB in the fourth quarter, down 15.7% compared with 655 million RMB in the same period of 2021 due to the factors I mentioned earlier. Segment-wise, our IT-focused supplementary STEAM education revenue was comparable with that of the fourth quarter of 2021, while our IT professional education revenue declined by 31.6% due to the impact of macroeconomic headwinds.
在成本管控方面，第四季度我们深入贯彻优化业务管理模式，提升团队运营效率，并进行有效的费用控制。虽然第四季度的客观因素影响使我们的收入有所下降，2022年第四季度公司成本同比2021年同期下降了 29.8%， 整体毛利率同比提高了 8.4个百分点，经营费用同去年同期相比下降了 15.7%， 使得我们第四季度经营亏损大幅收窄 92.4% 至457万元。而非美国通用会计准则经营利润不考虑股权激励费用为 23.3 万元，同时全年经营利润同比去年同期扭亏为盈，达到 9304 万元，非美国通用会计准则经营利润达到 1.09 亿元。
With respect to cost control, during the period, we optimized our business management model to enhance operational efficiencies and effectively control expenses. In the fourth quarter, impacted by factors beyond our control, our revenue decreased. However, our costs decreased by 29.8% year over year. As a result, our gross margin rose by 8.4 percentage points year over year in the fourth quarter. Additionally, operating expenses decreased by 15.7% year over year, substantially narrowing our operating loss by 92.4% year over year to 4.57 million RMB. Our non-GAAP operating income, excluding share-based compensation expenses, was 233,000 RMB. Meanwhile, we realized an operating income of 93.04 million RMB for the full year of 2022, compared with an operating loss in 2021, as well as a non-GAAP operating income of 109.6 million RMB.
接下来，我和大家介绍一下我们的青少年素质教育业务的情况。
Next, let me walk you through our IT-focused supplementary STEAM education business.
2022年的第四季度，青少年素质教育业务的净收入3.34亿元，同比2021年第四季度的3.36亿元基本持平，占总业务收入比重上升至60.5%。得益于我们高品质的课程和交付，以及不断增强的品牌影响力，报读人数从2021年第四季度的15.13万人增长了17%，达到2022年同期的17.7万人。同时，伴随着收入的稳定增长以及各中心运营成本的有效控制，我们第四季度毛利同比增长35.8%，毛利率同比上升13个百分点，达到48.6%。
In the fourth quarter of 2022, net revenue from our IT-focused supplementary STEAM education program was 334 million RMB, comparable to 336 million RMB we recorded in the fourth quarter of 2021. This represented 60.5% of our total revenue during the period, an increase from the fourth quarter of 2021. Enrollment increased by 17% from 151,100 in the fourth quarter of 2021 to 177,000 in the same period of 2022, thanks to our high-quality courses and delivery, as well as our growing brand. Meanwhile, with steady revenue growth and effective cost control at our centers, our gross profit rose by 35.8% year-over-year in the fourth quarter, and our gross profit margin climbed by 13 percentage points to 48.6%.
在获课方面，受线下中心暂时关闭的影响，我们当地的招生收入受到影响，总缴费学员数为3.8万人次，相比去年同期下降10.7%，但青少年素质教育业务优异的课程和交付质量、教学效果已形成了良好的口碑效应，为我们带来相对更多来自口碑和续费学员的占比，从而部分抵消了因获课受限所导致的新招生人数下降。同时，有赖于我们线上线下相结合的课程交付体系以及不间断的 OMO 服务模式，我们在第四季度的经营活动受限的影响下，最大程度地保证了较高的课程及产品服务质量，报读人数同比17%的增长。相应的，在本季度缴费学员中，报读超过1年的学员续费比例持续保持在78.7%以上。
On the customer acquisition front, our total number of fee-paying students in the fourth quarter of 2022 was 38,200, a decrease of 10.7% year-over-year, as our student recruitment was affected by the temporary closure of our offline centers. However, our excellent course and delivery quality and our students' learning results in IT-focused supplementary STEAM education have translated into word-of-mouth referrals and an increase in the number of renewal students as a percentage of fee-paying students, partially offsetting the decrease in customer acquisition due to limited center access. Meanwhile, thanks to our integrated online and offline course delivery system and our non-stop OMO service model, we ensure high course and service quality to the maximum extent, despite the constraints imposed on our operations in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, enrollment increased by 17% year-over-year. Notably, the percentage of renewal students who have enrolled over a year continued to exceed 78.7% in the fourth quarter.
在中心运营上，虽然第四季度受疫情影响，部分中心暂停营业，但我们持续提升中心的运营效率，进而达到优化中心经营成本、扩大单中心盈利水平的运营目标。2022年第四季度，青少年素质教育业务的中心数量由2021年第四季度末的238个净减少21个，至2022年第四季度末的217个。同时，单中心学生报读人数由去年的每中心636人提升至2022年第四季度的每中心805人。第四季度平均单中心收入上涨了7.8%。
Regarding the operation of our centers, although some of them suspended operations due to the pandemic in the fourth quarter, we managed to improve operational efficiency while ensuring course quality. This helped us reduce operating costs and expand single center profitability. At the end of the fourth quarter of 2022, the total number of centers providing IT-focused supplementary STEAM education services declined to 213 from 238 at the end of the fourth quarter of 2022, a net reduction of 21 centers. At the same time, the number of students enrolled per center increased from 336 in the fourth quarter of 2021 to 805 in the same period of 2022. In the fourth quarter, average revenue per center grew by 7.8%.
接下来和大家介绍一下成人 IT 职业教育业务的情况。
Next, moving to our IT professional education business.
在第四季度，考虑到大部分区域受到疫情反复以及商业环境不确定性的影响，公司暂停了部分线下中心的经营一段时间，相应的第四季度的运营受到了影响。第四季度，我们的成人业务净收入同比2021年第四季度下降了31.6%。当然，春节后这些中心已经全面恢复运营。此外，在此期间，公司继续推进降低成本、提高运营效率的稳健运营方针。第四季度成人业务总成本和运营费用比2021年同期降低了23.7%。
During the fourth quarter, the pandemic impacted societal mobility in general, affecting our enrollments and operations as well. To cope with the situation, we suspended the operation of some offline centers for a period. This had a significant impact on our operations in the fourth quarter. Specifically, net revenue for our IT professional education business dropped by 31.6% year-over-year. Of course, our centers have resumed full operations since the Chinese New Year holiday. In addition, we continued to facilitate stable operations by reducing costs and improving operational efficiency. In the fourth quarter, the total costs and operating expenses of our IT professional education business decreased by 23.7% year-over-year.
随着社会对于数字化、信息化建设的重视愈加提升，我们也将在经济的稳步复苏中迎来发展数字经济所带来的新机遇。ChatGPT 在全球掀起了新一轮人工智能技术的浪潮，而在其中的核心生成式 AI 模型也将在一定程度上影响商业与社会的发展，促进新的技术布局。一直以来，我们始终保持对前沿技术和市场需求的高度敏感，不断的创新课程、创新服务、创新运营。最近，我们成为首批百度文心一言生态战略合作伙伴。我们将通过这个合作，探索智能对话技术在职业教育领域的应用。我们相信 AI 技术的普及及快速发展必然会带来更多和更高标准的 IT 人才需求，带动 IT 培训行业下一轮的大发展。达内也将始终站在科技创新的前沿，确保我们用领先的课程和交付服务为学生以及他们的雇主带来创新的价值。
As society places more emphasis on digitalization and information-based development, we'll embrace new opportunities brought about by the digital economy during China's macroeconomic recovery. ChatGPT has set off a new wave of AI technology advancements worldwide, and its core generative AI model will promote the deployment of new technologies and influence how business and society develop. We always stay abreast of the latest cutting-edge technologies and market demands and continuously innovate our courses, services, and operations accordingly. Meanwhile, we have continued to explore the application of the latest technologies. Recently, we became one of the first approved ecosystem partners of the Ernie bot developed by Baidu. Through this collaboration, we'll explore the application of smart dialogue technology in professional education, which marks the first application of the conversational language model in professional education in China. We believe that broader application and rapid development of AI technology are bound to drive the demand for high-standard IT talent, and that they will fuel the development of the IT professional education industry. We will continue to stand at the forefront of technological innovations in the industry and continue to create value for our students and their employers with our industry-leading courses and delivery services.
以上是我公司2022年第4季度及全年运营情况的分享。
That concludes my review of the company's operations for the fourth quarter and full year of 2022.
下面有请我们的 CFO 魏平女士为大家带来2022年第4季度及全年财务情况的介绍。
Next, I'll the call over to Ping to walk you through our financials for the fourth quarter and full year of 2022.
Thank you, Nancy, and hello, everyone. Now let me walk you through some of the financial highlights of the fourth quarter and fiscal year 2022. Please refer to the press release for more information, as I'll try to be brief. For the fourth quarter of 2022, the company narrowed its operating loss to 4.6 million RMB or $0.7 million compared to an operating loss of 60.4 million RMB in the same period of 2021. Non-GAAP operating income, which excluded share-based compensation expenses, was RMB 0.2 million or $0.03 million in the fourth quarter of 2022, compared to non-GAAP operating loss of 56.5 million RMB in the same period of 2021. The improvement in our operating profit was driven by our well-executed cost and expense controls during the quarter, although we faced challenges from temporary uncertainties in the business environment. Our total net revenues reached 552.4 million RMB or $80.1 million in the fourth quarter of 2022, of which net revenue from our IT-focused supplementary STEAM education business was 334.1 million RMB, representing about 60% of our total revenue. Meanwhile, thanks to our effective control measures, our cost of revenues decreased by 29.8% to 230.1 million RMB or $33.4 million in the fourth quarter of 2022, from 327.7 million RMB in the same period of 2021. Total operating expenses decreased by 15.7% to 326.9 million RMB or $47.4 million in the fourth quarter of 2022, from 388 million RMB in the same period of 2021, as we achieved expense reductions across our organization. The main contributors to the cost and expense reductions include the following. Firstly, we continuously closed the low-performing centers and optimizing personnel operations to improve efficiency. As a result, as Nancy mentioned earlier, our learning centers for both IT-focused supplementary STEAM education and IT professional education businesses decreased to 217 and 86 centers respectively, and our total headcount decreased by 20.5% year-over-year. Secondly, we reduced sales and marketing personnel as well as marketing spending, while remaining focused on operational excellence. By endeavoring to uplift the quality of our course content, delivery, and services, we continue to generate more word-of-mouth referrals and renewal enrollments and maximize the lifetime value for our students. Thanks to the strong word-of-mouth referral effect, our enrollment shows strong resilience despite social mobility restrictions during this exceptional period. As a result of the foregoing, we narrowed our net loss to 17.7 million RMB or $2.6 million in the fourth quarter of 2022, compared to a net of 182.5 million RMB in the same period of 2021. Non-GAAP net loss, which excluded share-based compensation expenses, was 12.9 million RMB or $1.9 million in the fourth quarter of 2022, compared to non-GAAP net loss of 178.6 million RMB in the same period of 2021. On annual basis, given our implementation of operational strategies that emphasize the profitable growth of the company, net income for the year has reached 85.2 million RMB or $12.4 million, compared to a net loss of 475.8 million RMB for 2021. Non-GAAP net income was 101.8 million RMB or $14.8 million for 2022, compared to a non-GAAP net loss of 456.7 million RMB in the same period of 2021. Now, on the EPS side, basic and loss per ADS was 1.72 RMB or 25 cents in the fourth quarter of 2022, compared to loss per ADS of 16.12 RMB in the same period of 2021. On an annual basis, basic income per ADS was 7.64 RMB or $1.11 in 2022, compared to loss per ADS of 42.17 RMB in 2021. Diluted income per ADS was 7.23 RMB or $1.05 in 2022, compared to loss per ADS of 42.17 RMB in 2021. As of December 31, 2022, the total balance of cash equivalents, and time deposits, including current and non-current, and restricted cash, was 380.5 million RMB or $55.2 million, increasing by 38.4 million RMB from September 30th of 2022. The increase was mainly due to 24 million RMB of operating cash inflow generated in the quarter and 27 million RMB of inflow from financing activities as we drew down on our credit facilities. Capital expenditures in the fourth quarter of 2022 were 9.2 million RMB or $1.3 million, mainly from purchasing IT equipment used in classrooms and payments to renovate learning centers. This concludes my financial highlights section, and Nancy will share with you the business outlook and revenue guidance for the first quarter of 2023. Nancy, please.
感谢魏平女士对于2022年第四季度及全年财务情况的总结。下面我来向大家分享一下公司对于2023年的展望。
Thank you, Ms. Wei, for your summary of our financial performance for the fourth quarter and full year of 2022. Now turning to the company's outlook for 2023.
2022年的10月一直到中国春节这段时间，疫情环境动态变化，同时老师、员工 和学生以及部分家长自12月起至中国春节前后，先后经历了本地的疫情，因此公司采取了相关的管理决定，在2023年1月暂停了大部分课程和服务。相应的，2023年第一季度我们仅正常运营了近2/3的时间，因而第一季度的收入代表的也只是约2个月的收入。此外，我们估计这段时间公司的现金收款大概率比正常情况少了约2.8亿元。而因为我们的经营模式是先收款后服务，成人的课程周期平均4到9个月，少儿也同样有会计收入晚于现金的经营特点，因此这段非正常时期减少的现金收入也将影响后季度，特别是2023年第一季度的会计收入。
The pandemic evolved continuously from October 2022 through the Chinese New Year. As many of our teachers, employees, students, and their families fell ill from December until around the Chinese New Year, we made the decision to suspend most of our non-essential operations for January 2023, including the majority of our classes. That meant we only maintained normal operations for approximately 2/3 of the first quarter of 2023. As a result, our first quarter revenue represents only about 2 months of revenue. In addition, we estimate a 280 million RMB reduction in our cash receipts during this period compared with periods of normal operations. As customer payments precede services rendered based on our operating model, for both IT professional education and IT-focused supplementary STEAM education services, this results in later recognition of accounting revenue than cash receipts. In addition, given that IT professional education courses last 4 to 9 months, our GAAP revenue for subsequent quarters, particularly the first quarter of 2023, will also be affected.
当然，之前我提到的前段时间的影响是暂时性的和一次性的。到中国春节假期结束后的2月初，我们已经全面恢复了正常经营。随着宏观环境的逐步恢复，学员报读热情逐渐提高，课程报名踊跃。而经历了上述严峻的考验，我们的 OMO 教学交付能力、获课能力、运营能力在应对挑战的过程当中实现了升级，为我们2023年全年的经营打下了坚实的业务基础。以目前看到的情况，我们有信心自2月以来的良好表现，自第2季度开始，可以部分抵消前期不利外部环境对公司2023财务表现的影响。
Of course, we believe the impact of suspending our center's operations is temporary. By the end of the Chinese New Year holiday in early February, we fully resumed normal operations. And as the steady recovery of macroeconomic conditions fueled students' enthusiasm to enroll in our courses, we have seen an enhanced level of course sign-ups. Moreover, we emerged from the top challenges stronger with an upgraded OMO-based delivery system, as well as optimized customer acquisition and operational capabilities, laying a solid foundation for our full-year operations in 2023. This has given us confidence that from the second quarter onward, our great performance since early February will offset some of the earlier adverse effects of external headwinds on the company's financials in 2023.
相应的，在财务指引方面，根据公司目前的估计，2023年第一季度净收入总额预计在3.65亿元至3.80亿元之间，较2022年第一季度净收入同比下降39.1%至41.5%。公司基于当前市场情况，给出上述指引，反映了对当前市场和公司经营状况的初步估计，这些情况可能会发生变化。
Accordingly, with respect to financial guidance, we estimate our total net revenues for the first quarter of 2023 to be between 365 million RMB and 380 million RMB, representing a decrease of 39.1% to 41.5% from the first quarter of 2022. The company's guidance reflects our preliminary estimate of the current market environment and the company's operating conditions, which may change.
展望未来，我们对于 IT 教育服务市场的未来潜力充满信心。我们将持续优化 OMO 线上线下相融合的产品交付及服务，促进课程及服务质量的进一步提升，为学生带来更多价值和良好的体验。我们对未来报读人数的反弹以及增长较为乐观，并将继续巩固口碑效应，以带动更多的新生缴费及老生续费，实现低成本的获客。同时，我们将进一步深化运营效率，在更为健康的运营轨道上实现全年盈利水平的新突破。
Looking ahead, we are fully confident about the potential of the IT education services market. We'll continue to optimize our OMO-based product delivery system and services and further improve our course and service quality to bring more value and a better experience to our students. We are optimistic about the rebound in enrollment and will consistently reinforce word-of-mouth referrals to drive growth in new fee-paying students while lowering customer acquisition costs. At the same time, we'll further enhance our operating efficiency and strive to achieve a new level of full-year profitability with healthy and sustainable businesses and operations.
以上是我们对于未来的展望及收入的指引。
The statement above is our outlook for the future and our revenue guidance.
借此机会再次感谢大家一直以来的关注和支持。下面我们准备好接受提问。
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you again for your attention and support. We're now ready for questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. If you would like to ask a question, please press star and 1 on your telephones and wait for your name to be announced. If you wish to cancel your request, please press star and 2. If you are on a speakerphone, we do ask you please pick up your handset to ask your questions. Once again, that is star and then 1 to join the question queue. Our first question today comes from Edward Riley from EF Hutton. Please go ahead with your question.
Thanks for taking my question. So I'm trying to reconcile the first quarter guidance with the fourth quarter results, given the environment kind of seemed the same. So there were virtually no classes in January, you said, but in the fourth quarter it looks like you continued online classes during the lockdown. So I'm just kind of wondering if you could maybe provide some color on what gross margins might look like for the first quarter, given that you still had rental costs and probably some personnel costs in the quarter, but limited revenue in January.
Right. Eddie, okay. I'll have Kathy translate the question first, then I will take the question.
感谢管理层接受我的提问。刚才管理层在介绍的时候也提到，受到外部商业环境的影响，4季度的也确实会有一定的影响。我的问题主要是想了解一下2023年1季度的毛利率的情况，还有课程的开设情况以及人工成本。谢谢。
Eddie, that's actually a great question because as Nancy mentioned, we basically didn't have any non-essential classes open for January, and a lot of our staff had to take sick leave, etc. So overall, for first quarter, we won't be able to match the margin we achieved in Q1 of 2022. We are more looking for a gross margin slightly below 40%. So that's the sort of what we expect. Now, you mentioned the personnel cost the rent, yeah, we actually got some rental relief in Q4 and in the other quarters of 2022. We don't expect that to be repeated in January and 2023. So rent expense or cost for Q2 will be about the same, but the as last year. But we were sort of progressively improving efficiency and optimizing organization. So from personnel front, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, we already had 20% of headcount reduction during the year. So so the first quarter of 2023, people-related cost will be much lower. One is with the 20% reduction in headcount. Two is also some of them take sick leave. So overall, on cost and expense adding together, we should be able to save like more than 100, probably around 130 to 150 million of cost and expenses for the first quarter as compared to a normal quarter. So through all means. So while we will have a significant lower top line revenue for the quarter, loss-wise, we probably will be losing money for the quarter, but it won't be as significant. So also on a more sort of longer horizon, we actually expect our full year sort of a margin, both on gross and net, will be sort of be better. And on operating income, absolute dollar number-wise as well, we actually expect to, for 2023, after Q1 and on annual basis, will be better than 2022. So I hope that answers your question, Eddie.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks so much for that. And just some housekeeping. I'm wondering what enrollment was for the professional segment in the fourth quarter. I might have missed it.
我想再补充问一下四季度成人业务的这个报读情况如何？
Right. The enrollment for adult is around 27,000, give or take a few hundred. It's about 10% lower than the same period of last year, primarily because of what we mentioned, like from October onwards, social mobility is much lower as compared to a normal period.
Okay, got it. And then students enrolled per center continues to grow pretty strong within the adolescent segment. Should we expect this to continue going forward throughout 2023? And is there any specific target or capacity constraint that you have on the centers or the target in terms of what you're looking to hit for students enrolled per center?
说到这个美中心的报读人数的话，目前看是一直保持一个比较强劲的增长态势，尤其是在少儿业务。那不知道这个强劲的增长态势在2023年是否会继续？也不知道公司在这一个数据方面有没有一个想达到的目标
？Again, very good question, Eddie. After we resume normal operation in February, we do see fairly strong momentum with enrollments, etc. So we still expect on a run rate basis, like for kids especially, an enrollment growth probably high teen to even low 20 percentage point. Now the second part of the question is about whether the current number of centers will be able to accommodate this kind of enrollment growth. The answer for this year is yes, for sure. And then at the same time, so that's, we have a fairly scalable model because we have an OMO model. While some of the students come to centers for classes, we have some of the classes taught purely online. We have some of the classes with combined online and offline learning. So center utilization certainly has room for those enrollment growth. At the same time, since the country is now put back to normal, we are exploring expansion plans with our children's segment, as this market, as we are sort of operating in a huge market with great growth potential, and we certainly won't want to forgive the expansion opportunities, due to any sort of because we want to just drive profit. So we want to drive sustainable, profitable growth. So yes.
Okay, got it. I mean, should we expect total centers to continue to decline going forward, remain flat, or it seems like there might be some growth there?
Right. For the first half of this year, I would say we probably will stay on a relatively stable numbers. And then heading into second half, yes, you should expect some growth in center numbers. Won't be a lot, like we'll primarily drive current year's growth from existing centers.
Okay, gotcha. And then regarding some of the cost reductions taken during the year, how much of these reductions are permanent, or should we expect costs to revert back to normal levels in 2023?
Right. Again, on the cost reduction side, you can see that both for sales and marketing and for G&A, as well as cost of revenue, we actually did achieved a sizable reduction in from 2021 to 2022. On a going forward basis, on cost of revenue side, basically we don't anticipate overall cost of revenue to be higher than 2022, simply because one is overall headcount reduction of 20%, kicking full gear for this year. And secondly, for most part of this year, we will be running and optimizing our operations with the existing centers rather than center expansion. So there won't be a lot more structural cost from that front. So basically rent will stay pretty stable. And then on marketing side, again, headcount reduction achieved and marketing spending optimized. So what you will see as some additional spending as our scale grow, as we generate more leads and convert more leads. But other than that, it will be fairly conservative control on spending. On the sales and marketing side, I think actually, and the G&A side, I think both will also deliver lower overall annual numbers as compared to 2022. I think the 10 to 15% saving on sales and marketing side, and then on G&A, I forgot to mention on G&A, while overall we probably will stay flat, but in 2022 they are about $15 million of one-time expenses. One is remember the one-time litigation settlement charge of $3 million. That's a one-time charge. And secondly, we have some provisions taken on balance sheet. That's also a one-time thing. So I would say G&A side we probably will stay flat compared to the excluding one-time G&A expense level for 2023.
Okay, great. That's great color. And then I was wondering if you could maybe provide us with some details on what taxes might look like for the next year.
Tax?
Yes.
Eddie, are you asking about income tax?
Yes.
Okay.
下一个问题是关于所得税的，你看这个所得税率是多少？
Yeah, for 2022, we estimated our effective tax rate to be around 18%. But through we have various level of tax rates for different legal entities within the organization. So for 2023, because of the mix shift we actually expect around 16% of effective tax rate for the year.
Okay, great. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
And ladies and gentlemen, we don't have any other questions at the moment. Presenters, please continue.
Are there more questions, operator?
We do have an additional question actually from Ji Dave from Super Bowl. Please go ahead with your question.
好的，我想问一下，目前的这个成人和少儿的赛道的竞争格局来看，达内的差异化优势有哪些？
My question is, in the current market competition of both adults and children's education services, what are Tarena's differentiated advantages?
Nancy 总，您看，您回个问题。
好的，非常感谢您的提问啊。2023年确实我们所在的少儿业务、科技素质教育的赛道，还有成人 IT 培训的这个赛道都发生了一些新的变化，但是达内呢也持续保持着在2个领域里边的竞争优势。首先在少儿科技素质教育领域里边，我们在教育产品和教学交付质量上是持续领先的。我们相信我们专业的产品和教学交付质量将会持续赢得客户的信赖。
Thank you for your question. Actually, in 2023, some changes have taken place in both children's and adult education businesses, but Tarena has maintained our leading advantages mainly in 2 areas. Firstly, in terms of STEAM education, our advantages mainly lie in our diverse education scenarios and our high delivery quality. These 2 advantages will continue to help us win trust from our customers.
第二点呢，在少儿的这个科技素质教育领域里边，我们持续形成了越来越专业和越来越大的这个品牌影响力，我们获得了非常好的家长和用户的口碑。
Secondly, again, in our STEAM education business, we have won increased recognition and word of mouth from parents because of our highly professional services and growing brand influence.
那么第3点呢，是我们已经形成的全国线下的获客网络以及优秀的获客能力，也会构建我们持续的竞争能力。
Third, we have an expansive national offline customer acquisition network that have boosted our customer acquisition capabilities, and this will continue to be our advantage.
第4点，我们持续提高效率的运营体系，也将会构建我们新的这种竞争能力。
Fourth, our highly efficient operational system will continue to increase our competitiveness.
我们的少儿业务面向2023年是满怀信心的。
So we are fully confident about the development of our STEAM education business in 2023.
那么下面再跟您分享一下我们在成人的 IT 职业教育领域里边的这个优势。
And now moving on to our advantages in IT professional education for adults.
20年的运营经验使得我们对 IT 技术的变革有着深刻的洞察。新的 IT 技术的诞生都会引发新的商业的变革，带来新的应用。与此同时，在 IT 人才供给体系里面也会诞生出新的需求。在此方面，达内拥有着非常丰富的经验。
We have been developing our IT professional education business for 20 years, and over these past years, we have accumulated ample experience and insights into the changes of technology and market demand. Along with the birth of new technologies, always come changes in business models and the applications of technologies, and we have been able to keep abreast of these latest developments, including new technologies and new market demands, and we have rich experience in these areas.
那么我们稳定成熟的 OMO 产品交付的体系、运营的体系和经验丰富的管理团队都会持续构建我们在这个领域的竞争优势。
Our stable and strong OMO-based course delivery system and experienced teachers team, these are all our advantages in IT professional education.
OK， 好，希望上述的这个回答可以很好的这个cover 您的问题，谢谢。
I hope I've answered your questions. Thank you.
谢谢。
Operator. Thank you, operator.
Yeah,
if there are no further questions. Yes, please.
I was just going to say that there are no additional questions at the moment, and you may continue.
Thank you, operator. If there are no further questions at present, we would like to conclude by thanking everyone for joining our conference call. We welcome you to reach out to us directly by emailing at ir.edu.cn. Should you have any questions or requests for additional information, we encourage you to visit our investor relations site at ir.edu.cn. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude our call for today. Thank you for participating. You may all disconnect.